All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Happy Friday, everybody. My name is Kristen Gillis. I'm excited that you have decided to join us either live or you're catching the recording later. It just means that you have decided to take some time to invest in yourself during the holiday season and your health and your well-being. And so today, what we're really going to focus on is how can we um, align ourselves, our minds, our habits with the busyness of the season and it with that holiday hustle. And so I want you to put in the chat for a second. When you think of the holidays, what is one word that comes to mind when you think of the holiday season? And for some people, chaos is a good answer. Maybe just that overstimulation. We feel stretched in a million different directions. We often just feel very stressed with what's going on. And so I think that the key to success during the holiday season is having a plan. And so today our goal is really just to help you leave here with a plan. We're going to give you some practical tips, some strategies on how to help you survive the next couple months, and not just survive them, but actually enjoy them and feel really good while you're doing them. So real quickly, if we have not met, my name is Kristen Gillis. Like I said, I am a wife and a mom to 15-year-old twins. That's a picture of us last Christmas. And just quickly share with you how my holidays look a little bit differently than they did a few years ago. So it was like 6 or 7 years ago, I decided to really be more intentional with my health and my wellness. And so now, these three things kind of came to mind for me. I definitely keep up with my healthy habits. So I don't just throw everything out the window when the holidays hit. I'm still staying hydrated. I'm still prioritizing my sleep. I'm still active every day, even if it's for just 10 minutes. It's definitely a priority for me. The just because it's there isn't really a reason for me to eat it anymore. It was for a long time. If there was leftover, there's leftover pie, so I eat it. There's leftover mashed potatoes, so I would eat it. Or there was, maybe there's just, if you've got kids, right, and we see extra food on their plate, we're always finishing it off for them as well. So definitely just changed a little bit about it. And I've also gotten much better at enjoying the occasional treat without feeling guilty. For a long time, my relationship with food was very guilt driven. And so if I would have that extra piece of pie, I'd feel guilty about it for like 2 days. Whereas now it's just a decision. I'm just making up my mind and I'm fine with it and I move on. So that's just a little bit about me and just how the holidays are different for me now. I am not here today to tell you that the holidays aren't really stressful because they are. And I am not here to tell you that you shouldn't be feeling the way that you're feeling. It is very valid. The holiday is oftentimes full of stress, whether that's from the people around us, going to the stores, our relatives, our shopping lists. And then there's a lot of things just that can be very tempting. Maybe it's holiday parties. Maybe it's the stuff to eat, to drink. There's food everywhere, there's drinks everywhere. And all of that can be this feeling that we have to do everything, can be very overwhelming. And it can take a toll on our choices. It can take a toll on our health as well. So just because we can't avoid the stress that comes with the holidays, though, doesn't mean that everything has to fall into complete chaos. Um, so it's really more about how can we learn to handle the stress? How can we learn to respond differently to those stresses to feel a little bit more balanced? The question in the bottom of the screen, I'd love for you to stick in the chat, is what part of the season tends to throw you off balance the most? When you feel just out of whack a little bit, what are some of those? And Wendy, do me a favor, tell me what people are putting because I don't want to pull it up on the screen. Everybody will see. It just
Sure,
messes it.
sure. Well, the first comment is a busy schedule.
Yep.
Um, and I know for me, for sure, it's like I've learned that if I'm tired, which often comes from traveling or just doing way too many things, that is my biggest trigger for eating, is when I'm super tired.
That's true. We don't make the best decisions when we're hungry. I'm actually going to talk about that in a little in a little bit. So, when we think about the holiday season, we often are faced with just a bunch of different events, right? And a lot of the time, so whether it's a holiday party, whether it is you're out shopping all day, whether it's a cookie exchange, for many of us, the event equals the outcome. And what I mean by that is this. So let's say I'm going to go to Aunt Helen's house for Thanksgiving, and she's going to, slave in the kitchen all day long, and she's going to make all this amazing food, and she's going to expect me to pile up my plate till it's overflowing with all of the amazing food that she's cooked over, right? So I'm going to do it. I love Aunt Helen, so I'm going to do what Aunt Helen tells me to do. And she's going to sit there and she's going to watch me clear my plate. And then she's going to say, "Well, there's leftovers, there's seconds. You should go back and, and get more. You're too skinny. You deserve this. It's just one day. It's just one meal. What does it matter?" And because we love Aunt Helen, what are we going to do? We're going to go and we're going to get more. Do any of you have maybe an Aunt Helen that you can relate to, right? Like they love us and they want to serve us and they want to feed us. And so I'm going to do what she says. And then, I'm going to eat all of the things and all of the dessert, and I'm going to feel stuffed and I'm going to feel lousy and I'm going to unbutton my pants and I'm going to pop some Tums and I'm going to feel tired and discouraged probably for the rest of the day, if not the next day, too. I'm guessing that some of you can probably relate to something similar to this. So, and in my mind, what happened is in my mind, I'm equating the event equals the outcome. Aunt Helen's meal equaled me feeling tired, lousy, and discouraged. So there is something else that I want you to consider. So what if the event plus our response now equals the outcome? And here's what that would look like. So I still go to Aunt Helen's house. I'm going to eat. I'm going to enjoy. I'm not, though, going to overeat. I'm not going to go back for seconds. And so that event, my response now was a little bit different. And so was my outcome. So throughout this workshop, what we really want to do is just help you figure out um, what can your response be to the specific events that you are having so that you get a different outcome. Okay, so we're going to give you a bunch of tips and tricks and strategies. Do not overwhelm yourself and think that you have to do all of them. Find one or two of them that are helpful for you, that you feel like, yep, I could do that. And then that's a great place to start. So again, just be focusing today. The event doesn't equal what happens. My response to that event is what's happening. And I'm going to invite Wendy. Wendy's going to come on and I'm going to flip this for you. She's going to keep talking.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you, Kristen, for getting us started. I think my holiday story is very similar. This first picture, I think, is from 2017, and then the other next one is from last year. So there is about a 40-pound difference between those two. But I think the most important part of that is more just about, like Kristen said, my habits around the holidays and my approach to these things. So I lost my weight between May and September of 2020. And so I went straight into the holiday season after that, and I did not do very well. I actually remember Christmas Eve, the first year where I literally thought I was going to be sick because I thought, well, I can eat some cookies now and it's fine. And I ate like 7 cookies and then I was going to be sick from all the sugar that I just had. So lesson learned, not a great plan. Um, but I've learned over the time to have some different habits around food at the events. And yes, there are things like the stuffing at Thanksgiving is probably one of the things that I love most in the whole world, but have a little bit and then leave it alone and don't have any more and don't have it for the next 4 meals because it doesn't necessarily need to be something that you're having all the time. Enjoy it and then move on. So my husband and I have become the people who bring a salad or vegetables to every dinner and every family gathering now. And for the most part, I will have the protein that we're having and the rest of my plate with a salad or something. And it's okay. I mean, I indulge a few times here and there, but it's less about the food once we start to make this mindset shift. And that's something that I have changed over the last couple of years. Like Kristen said, I try really hard to stick with my regular routines that help keep me centered. So whether that's, time in the morning to do some journaling and devotions, get some movement in. I know those things make me feel better. So even if they're not convenient, I know that those things are going to make me feel better. And I know that being able to stick with those things, even when we're traveling or something like that, do make a big difference. So we know that this isn't going to change overnight. And we know that you're not going to watch this 1 30-minute webinar and you're going to say, okay, great, I have it all figured out. But we would love to share with you just a few areas that have helped us to make some changes. And then maybe at the end, you can pick one or two and say, okay, that's where I'm going to start. And that's what I'm going to commit to for this year, because we know we can't change it all at once. So these are what we call the 6 micro habits of health, because really our health it does have to do with the number on the scale, but it's more about how we feel, how we're showing up every day, and all of the things that go into our health. It's not just one thing, and it's not just our weight. So, whether weight management is part of it, and we know that does medically play an important role in how physically fit and healthy we are, but it's also about our surroundings, a healthy mind, healthy motion, healthy sleep and energy, healthy eating, and hydration. And so between all of these 6 areas, the goal is to create some micro habits as part of all of these so that we can add up over time so that you start to build in each of these different 6 areas. So we're going to start with the healthy mind. And a few questions just to think a little bit about, and I'm guessing we can relate to these things. Please put it in the chat if you do and can relate to any of this. But are you going through, or have you, we're going to say this because we're going to change it for this year. Have you gone through the holidays on autopilot? Have you said yes to all the things that you're just supposed to do? Have you done all the things that you've done in the years past? Have you taken your kids to all these places, whether or not you really like it? Are you just doing the things, or have you done the things because it's something that you have done before? Do you really want to do all of these things? Are they actually adding value to you and your family? Or are you doing it just because Aunt Helen says this is when we're supposed to be there and it doesn't matter what's happening? This is what it's been done for 50 years, so that's what's happening. Because I'm guessing we can all have some of those. I definitely do in our traditions and family as well. And just maybe think a little bit about how a healthy mind starts with the awareness and permission to do things differently. So nobody else has to give you that permission. And yes, Aunt Helen might be upset if you don't go to her house at the same time as you have every other year or do it exactly the way it was. But are her feelings and the way that she might project that, is that really the most important thing? Or is it more important for you to protect some of your own peace or some of your own schedule or some of your own well-being? Because at the end of the day, if we don't protect our own peace, then nobody else will. So what is one thing, and I'd love to hear this in the chat if you have something top of mind, but what is one holiday should that you would love to release this year? Anybody have anything that I love, Catherine. I love your answer. You usually go with whatever makes people happy to avoid confrontation. Very common answer. Awesome. Okay. I love that. You don't have to attend everything. You can just, pick a few things and say no thank you for the others. So a tool that, Kristen and I have been taught a lot and really does help is similar to what she was saying as far as the event and the outcome, and having a moment to pause in there for that response. So the tool that we have learned and that has really been helpful is called Stop, Challenge, Choose. And it's just kind of a clever way to remember that the event doesn't have to equal that outcome. We do get a chance to choose what we want that response to be in the middle. So something's coming up, whether that's you get invited to something that normally you would say yes to, or maybe it's something that, somebody says, or something that you know someone is going to say, because we all have those people in our life too, that they're always going to have the expected response. That happens. Just stop. Just take a second. And you know what? I have small children, so I can relate these things to with our kids. And how many times do I say to my 5-year-old, no, it is not his fault that you were mad. You get to choose what response you get. Well, we need to say that to ourselves sometimes too. We get to stop and we get to think about what is really happening, and we get to choose the response that we get to have. And is that response really in alignment with your goals? And at the end of the day, we want to just create that awareness of creating a little bit more space to be able to make better choices. So just a little bit of, role play here. Thinking about, you're tired and someone offers you a second dessert. First of all, has anybody ever been there before? For sure. Especially like Kristen said, you're cleaning up all the stuff and then they're saying, oh, well, here, just take this. There's just a little bit left. Just eat it. So what is your stop, challenge, choose response that might be different than what you might have said before? One thing that often, a clever little kind of saying to keep in mind that has helped me with this too, that specific example is, you either trash it in your body or you trash it in the trash. And, sometimes it's okay to have a little bit of a dessert. It's okay to have, indulge here and there. But then there comes a point where we just need to stop. And then at some point, it's easier to just say, throw it away, because yes, maybe it's wasting food, but is that really worth it? All right, Kristen, I think you're up next.
All right. So some other pieces of advice that go along with this is trying to just remind ourselves that, well, especially this time of the year, it's still important that we fuel our body well. We don't have to deprive it. Okay. I find that some people go into the holidays with this all or nothing attitude. So they're like, I'm going all in, forget anything I've worked on for the last 6 months. I'm just going to do what I want, eat all the things. And then there's other people that are going to completely deprive themselves, and then they're mad and they're miserable because they're depriving themselves. And I don't really think that either one of those approaches is probably ideal. I think really trying to focus on the balance and find the happy medium to those two things will help you be successful. So, a couple strategies I'll give you when it comes to going to these parties or Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. One of them is just hydrating first. I think that this one is so helpful and it's simple, yet there's so many people that just don't do it. So, hydrating yourself before you have any caffeine, before you have a cocktail. One, it's going to help you feel full. Two, it's just like water helps our brain function better. We're going to think more clearly. So just having that bottle of water, I often tell people, like, if you're a coffee drinker in the morning, great. Let it be your reward for drinking 8 ounces of water first. So just hydrating yourself. Number two, we call them fuelings, but keeping something that is going to fuel your body handy. Um, Having some healthy, high protein, low carb options that are just easy for you to throw in your purse, to keep in your car, to keep in the refrigerator, on the counter, whatever, because when we are busy, we need stuff that is simple, that is easy. And so if I'm out Christmas shopping, I mean, who goes Christmas shopping anymore? I do. I like going to stores. I don't love just, shopping on Amazon. So if I'm out shopping, and I'm starving, if I have something healthy in my bag, I'm going to eat it, or else I'm going through the drive-through and I'm probably ordering French fries. So help yourself by setting yourself up for success and keeping things that are healthy handy. And thirdly, just being intentional about being more mindful when you are eating. Eat slowly. Take time to savor the taste, the texture. You're going to enjoy it more the more slowly you do that. And one of the biggest tips I've personally found helpful is the 3 bite rule. I don't know if you've heard of this, but what the 3 bite rule means is after about the third bite, our brain actually stops like processing the taste and the information that we're getting from, like, I love pumpkin pie. I'm going to eat pumpkin pie at the holidays and I'm not going to apologize for it, but I don't need as much. I don't need 2 or 3 or 4 slices. Usually after that third bite, you actually just stop enjoying it, stop tasting it. So eat those 3 bites slowly, enjoy them, but you just don't need the entire pie. So, in the chat, real quick, or just think about which of these three would be the easiest for you to begin with this week. I just want to have you start to personalize this a little bit and take a minute to figure out what is going to work for me. Is it going to be focusing on drinking your water? Is it going to be focusing on having healthy things available, or just slowing down and being mindful of what you're eating?
Kristen, Terry's got a great question, and she
Yeah.
said, "Do you recommend eating something before business events?" And she made a comment earlier about sometimes they don't have very great options and things are limited.
It's actually a great idea, and it's a perfect tip because, and I've learned this, yeah, one, if I eat something before I go, I'm not going there starving, so I'm not going to overeat. And you're right, a lot of the stuff that they offer there are maybe not the things that are going to support my health goals. And then we get in our heads and we're worried about, well, what are other people going to think? If I go and don't eat anything, then I'm going to offend them. Fine, then go eat something small. But again, if you eat before you go, you're not starving. You can have a couple little things and still enjoy, but then not feel like you have to overindulge in this stuff that's not super healthy. That's a great question. Good. I can't see the chat, so if there's others, Wendy, let me know.
Well, Catherine just suggested, and I agree that hydration is really important in all of this, and that it is a very, very easy thing to forget, especially when we're tired, because then I pull to the caffeine, and then I forget, oh yeah, right, I should drink some water because that makes me feel better too.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point. Before you grab that next cup of coffee, chug some water, get up and walk first. Give yourself 5 or 10 minutes to decide, do I really need the coffee or is it just the water? And we make better decisions when we're hydrated. So again, if I'm out Christmas shopping, I'm not going to blow $200 on something my kids don't need because I'm going to be thinking more clearly because I'm hydrated. So some other really, really good ideas.
That's easy for you to say, Kristen, because you don't like coffee. But
I do. I hate coffee. I don't. I'm like, I actually can't relate at all to those of you that get up in the morning and drink it because I think it's gross. Um, so another one of the macro habits that Wendy talked about in the beginning was healthy movement, healthy motion. And so it does not have to mean you're going to run a marathon. It really, 10 minutes is all it takes if you're doing it consistently on a daily basis to feel better. It could be, I put the pictures in here for a reason. Like maybe you're just going to go for a walk. Maybe you're going to stretch. Maybe you're going to dance around your kitchen. I've been known to do this, or I'll like practice my kickboxing while I'm waiting for the oven to preheat. So just moving your body intentionally. And what that does, think about movement sort of as your daily medicine, just as something your body needs. So you're going to give it to it. It's going to help to reduce your stress. It's going to help to reduce your anxiety. It helps increase your energy. It helps increase your focus, just getting your body up and moving. One of the things that regular activity does is it lowers our cortisol levels, which I know that's kind of like a buzzword these days because we know it's the stress hormone and it wreaks havoc on our metabolism. So, doing something like this, very simple, regularly, consistently, can definitely help lower those cortisol levels and keep you a bit more grounded. So, like I said, with movement, find something that you enjoy. It does not have to be something you hate. It should be something that you can celebrate that your body can do. So whether it's walking, running, kickboxing, biking, stretching, pick it for you. Um, all right, Wendy, we're gonna keep going here with a few more ideas.
okay, so we're going to kind of hit all three of these last ones together, and it's not because they're not important, but I think sometimes when we come down to like I know all the things to do, I'm just not doing them. This is where some of these come into. So, protect your sleep. Like it really does matter, and it really does have an effect on the way that we show up and for the rest of the day. I definitely find myself, especially if I'm like hanging out at my parents' house and we're there for a few days and we're sitting up and we're talking and we're just like up way too long. I'm thinking, why am I still awake? Just go to bed because it doesn't have to. I'm not going to be at my best tomorrow if I stay up super late because I'm still going to wake up early in the morning because that's my routine now. So protect your sleep, say goodnight to your phone, find that routine, and whether or not you have a routine at home for winding down, maybe this is the time to create one to help you kind of wind down and go to sleep, get rid of the blue lights, and just be able to shut your nervous system down so that you can go to sleep. Healthy surroundings, again, this is easier said than done. I know we all have family and we have friends and we have obligations that we feel like, okay, this is really important and I just have to be there for them. And sometimes we do. Let's face it, that's life. We can't always say no to everybody in our life because we don't want to hang out with them anymore. But maybe there's a way that you can condense that a little bit, or you can make it a little bit less stressful. And maybe it's even just having the mindset of saying, you know what? This is what's going to happen, and I'm not going to react negatively to it this time because I know it's going to happen and I know how this is going to go, and I'm just going to let it go and I'm not going to let it work me up. We definitely have kind of a situation like that at our house, and we just say, you know what, this is how it's going to be, and we're going to do our best to get through it, and then we're going to move on to the next time, and we're not going to dwell on it, and we're not going to keep talking about it over and over again. But for the things that you can be selective to, be selective about who and what you say yes to, because you are able to protect your own peace and it is important. And you can say, you know what, this year we're just trying really hard to narrow down what we're doing, and we're trying really hard to just be more present and not do quite as many activities. Everybody's going to understand if you say something like that to them, and they're probably going to say, you know what, you're right, maybe I'm going to do that too. And the last one, as far as healthy weight management, I would say I've had clients in both ways here. So I've had clients who have said, you know what, I'm just going to do this and I'm going to commit 100% to, being on my weight loss plan, because by doing that, I will be able to get through this season with so much better. I'll feel better. I will be able to be a lot more on track by having a plan and sticking to that plan. Or maybe they're going to say, you know what, I'm going to indulge a little bit here and there. I'm going to really move into more of a zone of I'm just going to kind of maintain where I am through the season, and I'm not going to stress too much about it because I know that's going to make it worse if I stress. I think the most important thing, and I know Kristen would say this too, we don't judge. We're happy to support you and support our clients however you decide wherever you want to go. But I think the most important thing is to decide before you're going into this season, what are you going to do? Because the worst thing that can happen is for you to say, oh, yeah, okay, I'm really going to try hard to stay on track. But you don't have that real internal commitment to do that. And then you get in front of the temptation and then it falls apart. And then you beat yourself up. And then you go back and forth and you do it again at the next thing. And it becomes this whole roller coaster and yo yo. So I'd say whatever your plan is, pick a plan and tell somebody that's what you're going to do, because it's going to help you become more accountable. So we'd love to hear, who and what helps you stay grounded during the holidays. We'll keep going because I realize we're running a little bit late here. Um, I want to give you a little bit of a visualization exercise here, to help you, show up calm, confident, and in control of your holiday season. So just think about it's mid-December and you are feeling calm, you're energized, and you're proud of how you have showed up for the last few weeks and how you're going into the last couple weeks of December. What is something that helped you get there? And we have sent you, in your email that you got with the link for this, it has a worksheet attached. And this is going to help you go through some of these exercises. But we would really love to help you think about, what can I do between now and then so that when I get to the middle of December, I am confident and I'm calm and I'm in control of how things are going. And we would love to hear from you as far as what that is, because chances are what you've decided your word is going to be or your focus is going to help somebody else too.
All right, so we're just going to I'm going to land the plane here for us. So this slide is just a quick reminder. We talked about a lot of things. We threw a lot of stuff at you. And I think throughout the next couple months, just reminding yourself that, look, one response at a time. We have our events, we have our responses, and then we have our outcomes. So just one response at a time. And we did our best with really trying to hit all of the different areas of health and wellness, because Wendy said to you earlier that to us, this is not about the number on the scale. This is about how are you feeling and how are you showing up every day in everyday life. So, just remember to just to be aware, to work on that mind, to work on that stress, fueling your body well, hydrating your body well, setting sleep as a priority, and forcing that to be a priority. Healthy surroundings to me, I think, is one of the most important ones, because I can also relate to, some of those awkward, uncomfortable, stressful situations that are coming in the next couple months. But then who else can you bring into your circle and into your world to help support you during that time, and to help just encourage you and uplift you? And then again, pick how you want this season to go as far as your health and your weight. And just stay consistent. Just stay consistent. Decide what you want. And don't forget that stop, challenge, and choose option. When you're faced with the decision, stop, take a pause, think about it first, and then choose. And then I think the key to that too is being okay with your choice. I said that to you earlier. It's helped me not feel guilty after certain decisions because I stopped, I challenged, I chose. And that was that.
Awesome. Well, we thank you guys for being here today. Like I said, it's never successful if we change too many things at one time. So I would encourage you to, after we're done, go back through the workshop, maybe pick one thing or two things that we talked about today that you say, okay, that's something I'm going to focus on. And it could be as easy as hydration. And you're just going to say, I'm going to keep myself hydrated and I'm going to track my water intake every day, or I'm going to, get some extra steps. Those things will help you feel better, and setting that intention and following through with that intention also proves to yourself that you're the type of person who shows up for yourself. So Kristen and I are part of a coaching group we call UpLevel Wellness, and we are so glad that you guys have joined us here today. We would love for you to engage in our Facebook group and our community if you're not already in there. I think it's a fun place to be able to interact with other people who are in a similar place. And if you are ready to say, okay, I'd like to make some changes in my health, we have lots of different options of ways to support people. Our mission is really to help you feel empowered in your health, because we know and we've experienced that when you feel that empowerment, it helps to really ignite other parts of your life, and you can really show up differently in other ways when that part of your life is more under control and taken care of. So we do have some Black Friday deals that are coming. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more about that or connecting with us directly, you can scan this QR code. That goes to a survey where you can share a little bit more about where you are currently. Or just let us know. You'll get an email after this, and let us know if you'd like to talk more, because we'd love to connect with you. And we'd love to hear, especially in the Facebook group, how are you? What's your intention? What's your focus going to be? And how are you going to show up differently? And then we're going to celebrate on December 15th that we're all doing those things. So thanks so much for joining us today. It was great to see you all, and have a wonderful weekend.